Why can someone else's success make you gamble a life you were grateful for 5 minutes earlier? Nothing has to disappear. Your salary can stay the same. Your home can stay warm. Your family can still love you. Then one person buys the house, gets the exit, or joins the private deal, and your good life begins to feel like evidence that you missed something. Mara was sitting on a mountain train with 3 people she loved when Elliot's lake house photo arrived. 2 weeks later, she transferred $40,000 into an investment she did not understand. She did not tell Daniel, "Hi, I'm Sarah, and this is WiseMindStories." In this episode, you'll see how comparison changes the meaning of what you already have, why FOMO is often recklessness dressed as ambition, and one short delay that can separate a genuine opportunity from the need to feel caught up. Mara believed she was investing in her future. The truth was more immediate. She was paying to stop feeling behind. Elliot invited Mara to lunch at a restaurant without prices on the menu. He arrived 12 minutes late and apologized by naming the investor call that had delayed him. "The lake place is ridiculous," Mara said. "It is," Elliot replied, pleased. "But the equity came from one early bet." The new opportunity was a private logistics startup called Northline. Its software promised to cut warehouse delays using predictive routing. Elliot knew one of the founders. The round was friends and strategic operators only. Only. That word did more work than the financial projections. The minimum investment was $40,000. Funds could be locked for years. The company had revenue, but little profit. Elliot used words like asymmetric, proprietary, and pre-institutional. Mara asked intelligent questions. She did not ask the one Daniel would ask. What happens if all 40,000 disappears? Elliot leaned forward. This is how people in our position stop depending on salary. Our position. Mara had spent years outside rooms where people casually multiplied money. Now the door was open just wide enough for her to see who was inside. In his chapter on comparison, Housel draws on C.S. Lewis's idea of the inner ring, the persistent human desire to enter the circle that seems to contain the important people. Once admitted, you discover another ring inside it. There is always a smaller dinner, an earlier investment, a better neighborhood, a more private introduction. The goal does not end. It recedes. Housel uses Buzz Aldrin to illustrate the violence of reference points. Walking on the moon should sit beyond ordinary comparison. Yet being the second person to step onto its surface could be framed not as one of humanity's rarest achievements, but as not being first. The event is identical. The reference point rewrites its emotional value. That is what comparison does to money. It does not need to reduce what you have. It changes the scale against which you read it. Before Elliot's photograph, Mara's train trip felt abundant. After it, $14,000 spent on family memories began to resemble money that should have been invested. Her comfortable house looked like a failure of foresight. Her promotion path looked slow. She had not become poorer. She had looked sideways. Envy does not take your life. It changes the caption beneath it. At home, Daniel asked what she learned at lunch. "Northline is interesting," Mara said. "Interesting enough for what?" "Nothing." Elliot likes feeling early. That evening, while Daniel helped Lily solder lights into her model bridge, Mara requested the investment documents. She told herself she was only researching. Research became a deadline. The allocation would close Friday. The same mechanism as the furniture showroom returned in a new costume. Tonight is the cutoff. Research discussed in the book shows that when someone wins the lottery, spending can rise among nearby neighbors, and in some cases so can borrowing and financial distress. The neighbors did not win anything. Their kitchens did not break. Their cars did not stop running. Their incomes did not fall. But visible good fortune changed the local standard of normal. Housel connects this to a broader rule from ecology. Species competing for exactly the same scarce resource cannot coexist indefinitely without one gaining an advantage. Status games create a similar trap because the resource is relative position. For you to move up, someone else must move down. That is why status competition feels so different from learning, friendship, or health. Everyone in a running group can become fitter. Everyone in a book club can become wiser, but not everyone can be the richest person in the room. If money is used to enter a ranking rather than improve a life, someone else's gain automatically feels like your loss. Mara had entered Northline partly to gain wealth. More deeply, she wanted to restore her place beside Elliot. The investment was competing for a scarce emotional resource: the right to feel ahead. Comparison is contagious because desire is social. We look to nearby people for clues about what someone like us should have achieved by now. Elliot was not a celebrity on a screen. He sat in Mara's meetings. He was 2 years younger. His career looked comparable enough to be threatening. If a stranger bought a lake house, Mara could call it another world. If Elliot did, his gain became a question about her choices. On Thursday, Mara moved $40,000 from the family's brokerage account into Northline. The transfer confirmation arrived at 3:14. At 3:15, she felt selected. At 3:18, she felt sick. She planned to tell Daniel after dinner. Then Lily spilled water on a circuit board, Daniel burned the rice, and Grandma Joe called about a medical bill. Mara postponed the conversation. Postponement became concealment, one ordinary day at a time. Housel's chapter on social debt tells the story of Frank Lucas, the Harlem drug trafficker who wore a spectacular chinchilla coat and hat to a major boxing match. The outfit made him visible in a way his criminal success had not. Law enforcement attention intensified. The display carried a social liability far beyond its purchase price. The lesson is not merely, do not show off. Visible wealth can create expectations, envy, pressure, requests, scrutiny, and a need to maintain the story the display began. Every status asset can carry social debt. Elliot's lake house created some for him. Friends expected invitations. Colleagues treated him as an investment oracle. He now needed the next deal to confirm that the first was skill rather than luck. Mara inherited part of that pressure by entering Northline. At Brightcart, Elliot introduced her to 2 executives as one of us early Northline people. Mara smiled. The identity felt valuable. It also made doubt harder to admit. 3 weeks later, Northline lost its largest customer. The founders asked investors for an emergency bridge round. Elliot called Mara before sunrise. "This is normal startup turbulence," he said. "If we do not support the bridge, we get diluted." Mara stared at the dining table in the dark. $40,000 had become an argument for sending more. Social debt had become financial gravity. Daniel found the transfer while preparing their quarterly taxes. Mara was at work when he texted, "What is Northline?" She did not answer for 19 minutes. That silence answered him first. At home, Daniel had printed the statement and placed it on the table. "You moved nearly half our non-retirement investment account. It was my bonus money. We stopped having my money and your money when your income became the reason I could cut my hours. I was trying to create another source of freedom. Then why did freedom need to be secret?" Mara had explanations. The founder's background, the software, Elliot's conviction, the potential return. Daniel asked one question. If Elliot lived in our old neighborhood and drove a 10-year-old car, Would you have made this investment? Mara stopped. The Northline documents did not change. The revenue did not change. The opportunity did not change. Only the lake house disappeared. And with it, most of her conviction. That was the reversal. Mara had not taken the risk because she was unusually greedy. She had taken it because envy made patience feel like failure. FOMO is the fear that someone else's timeline is evidence against your own. Daniel folded the statement. I can survive losing $40,000, he said. I do not know what to do with losing the truth. The emotional cost was not the investment, not yet. It was the fact that Mara had converted a comparison into a secret and handed the secret to the person she trusted most. Comparison is not always useless. Envy can contain information. Someone else's life may reveal a desire you have ignored: creative work, financial security, community, adventure, mastery. The danger is treating envy as instruction. Motivation asks, what value in that life speaks to me? Instruction says, copy the visible result now. We almost never see the whole deal. We see the lake house, not the concentration risk, the promotion, not the marriage it strained, the early investment, not the 9 that failed. We compare our inside fear, uncertainty, trade-offs to someone else's outside the photograph, title, and result. There is no fair contest there. Mara and Daniel could not sell the Northline shares. The money was locked. They could choose what happened next. Mara declined the bridge round. She told Elliot she had invested for the wrong reason. He went quiet. That does not mean the deal is bad, he said. No, Mara replied. It means I was not qualified to know whether it was good. At home, she gave Daniel access to every account and told him the whole timeline from the train photo to the secret transfer. Trust did not repair itself because she became honest. Honesty merely stopped the damage from compounding. Today's action is the 7-2-hour comparison receipt. When a desire appears immediately after seeing someone else's success, do not act for 72 hours. Write one line. I wanted this after I saw. Name the trigger. The house tour. The promotion post. The friend's vacation. The stranger's portfolio. Then wait 3 days before evaluating the purchase or investment on its own terms. The delay is not proof that the desire is false. It simply allows the emotional temperature to fall enough for your own values to speak. If the desire remains, research it. If it dissolves, you were not looking at a goal. You were looking for pain relief. 4 months later, Northline was recapitalized. Mara's stake lost most of its paper value. Elliot stopped mentioning the lake house. Mara and Daniel were still rebuilding trust in small, unphotogenic ways. Shared account reviews, no hidden decisions, uncomfortable questions answered before bedtime. At Brightcart, acquisition talks slowed. Ben froze promotions. Priya kept contributing to the same broad market index fund she had used for years. Nothing about it looked early, exclusive, or brilliant. But when the company announced possible layoffs, Priya did not panic. Her money had been growing quietly toward a purpose that did not require anyone else to see it. Mara thought she wanted Northline's return. What she wanted was relief from the feeling that Elliot had moved ahead without her. That is today's insight. Envy can reveal a value, but it cannot evaluate an opportunity. Use the 7-2-hour comparison receipt the next time desire follows someone else's success. Write, I wanted this after I saw. Then wait 3 days before deciding. Subscribe to WiseMindStories if you want your money to follow your life instead of someone else's timeline. Mara has learned how expensive fast belonging can be. Now the acquisition is stalling, promotions are frozen, and Brightcart may cut jobs. The people who look least impressive are about to have the most choices. But one of them has saved so well that she has forgotten how to let money serve a life happening now. Next episode teaser. Brightcart's acquisition stalls, and a layoff list appears. Priya's boring savings give her a freedom no exciting investment could provide. Yet Grandma Joe's refusal to spend on something she genuinely needs will reveal the other side of discipline. What if the identity that helped you save becomes the reason you never live?